Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Comics Della Morte, episode 34, Blood Vengeance. I'm Crimson Owl Comics, Ronnie Gunter, my co-host, Frog Breaker Studios, Jason Alexander.
How's
And
it going,
before we
y'all?
start, what's up, everyone? And before we start off, Jason, what do you got to promote?
Oh, you already know. Mini Comics Bundles. Volume 6 is shipping nowish. Like, when I say nowish, I mean it's getting ready to go in the mail. Like, the first ones are going to go in the mail. We got the conclusion of Hourglass. We got the, what else we got? Oh, we got the big time horror epic, but it's only one mini comic, but I love this story so much, called The Message. I don't want to say too much about it. I just will say, always put your shopping cart in the designated area in the parking lot. Anything can happen. And we also are doing a story that's a prelude to a three-parter we got coming out called Tales of Gilead City. This story is called Home Run. And this is just kind of like a real quick introduction to how the same but different this world is. But Gilead City is a really special book, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So that's what we got going on. Check out minicomicbundles.com. 3 books, $5 a month. You sign up for the year, you get all 12 months of bundles. That's 3 bundles a month for 12 months. And you also get bonus content. You get access to web comics that we're doing. You get access to flash fiction that I'm doing, and you get a behind the scene look at some of the bigger names in the titles of the bigger titles of the mini. So stay tuned. Like, we got something really, really good cooking, and this is really just a glimpse into the future. So minicomicbundles.com. Find me on Instagram. I'm always up to something on Instagram too. Fall Breaker Studios. That's what I got. Ronnie, it's all you, baby.
All right. And if you're new to my channel, we review horror comics as the show's base. We talk about the artwork, we talk about the writing, we talk about how terrifying and scary it is, and then rate it from 1 to 10. And you could find me on here, of course. You could go to Facebook, you could go to Instagram, all as Crimson Owl Comics. I have a Ko-fi link down in the description where I'm doing the 12 days of holiday horror, and I have a sweet serial killer dressed up like an Easter bunny, cut out a woman's eyes, and like, thank you for the eyes. These will fit well into my eggs.
Oh my
Bam.
goodness. I love it. That's hard.
And Jason doesn't know this, but pretty soon you're not just going to have Comics Della Morte on YouTube. I am setting it up where we are going to be on Twitch as well.
Oh, snap. What?
Yes.
Wow. Newsflash all around. What? That's awesome.
Wanted to surprise you with that. So yeah, I got the count set up. I just need to start processing it. I don't know if I want to start doing the stream until after we finish this book, because then the people who follow us on Twitch like halfway through the story. So I want to like start with the next volume and go from there.
All right, that's cool.
And then I think you have to hit so many followers, then we could start putting our old videos onto Twitch as well. But it's
that's cool.
it'll just be nice to have us on like different platforms. And
absolutely, yeah.
And I actually see a lot of comic book artists on Twitch, but I've never seen anyone do like we do. So I hope that'll probably be some new followers.
Like so yeah. Well, like, we always do up to something, man. So
yeah.
And I think we got like a pretty cool. We got a lot of cool stuff going on in the future. So I think that this will be this is exciting news, Ronnie. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. So with this one, we're pretty much going back to left off where Skinnier Sweet was, where he busted out of the coffin when he was underwater and he killed a bunch of people. And he's pretty much now just looking for his old game, because his game was actually involved on teaming up with like the European vampires to help pretty much take out Sweets, because Sweets and his gang robbed from a bank that the vampires had control of.
Yep. So, yeah, this book, The Stephen King books always get me anyway, but
Yeah.
this one in particular it was good, like the last chapter was, and all the places the last chapter was good. But anything that I felt like was kind of a miss in the last chapter, this made up for, and that goes both with the writing and the artwork. This was a fun read. This was the Kill Bill chapter of the book so
for sure.
far. Yeah, it was really, really good.
Yeah,
so yeah, I'll let you kick off you always lay out the beginning so well.
Yeah, so pretty much here we're just back into like we have been with the past stories with Skinny or Sweet, where before we actually go and see what Sweet's done, that we have this author here who pretty much wrote the story of Sweet and everyone else, and pretty much the audience is saying here. So we're clear. You're saying that that now all of a sudden we're all supposed to believe that the ridiculous events described in Bad Blood, your fiction, is real. And pretty much in his fiction story talks about vampires and all this stuff. And they're pretty much saying that, your book is just basically republished. And who's to say you're not just trying to cash cow on it? Like he's saying here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Reissued.
Right. He was just trying to, they're accusing him of just trying to drum up sensation so he can sell more copies of his book. But as we know, it's true. But what I loved about this page was this was like laid out exactly like the other town hall meeting where the guy was eating the donut in the chapter before. It was just shot from a few different angles. But
he was sleeping during the whole time until you mentioned vampires. He woke up.
Exactly. And it ties, like, this story is tied so well together. Just from a few cues like that, and like the wardrobes are very similar in the book, and like the different settings, the two different settings have these similarities. So no, it's typical. Like, this is just a good book, so it's going to have like things that make it stand out.
And I have to point out too, I mean, there's different ways you want to go about it, but you see how like the guy on the left, he's wearing a black coat. I believe that's black, but it has blue shading. Some people, they like to go with like the gray shading when it comes to colors, but I don't know. It's like if you ever read a Venom comic back in the day where like the shading highlights were like blue or purple, it's Venom just stuck out so much more menacing. And I just love, me personally, I love how, like, instead of the traditional gray, you're going to use blue highlights to try to separate the shade, the light shining onto the black.
I remember a lot of folks used to do that with Superman's hair too, like way back, and then Batman was the same. Like, Batman's costume, when it looks richer. Like you said, with Venom, it made him look more otherworldly. Like, he looked like an orca whale, just walking around with teeth. So yeah, it's something to be said about it. It looks much more striking than the white. It looks more real.
And I love to. I mean, it's sure it's just simple, but I love how, like, with Stephen King's story, a lot of the words here that are in bold are like very old Western words. I mean, I want to know it. I wondered if it was like, you found a font or if it was hand drawn, because that's pretty nice. I like that.
It is. Yeah. They captured the Old West very well in this book. Like, was it Richard Albuquerque, the artist?
Yeah.
I can never remember his first name, but
Raphael.
Raphael. That's what it is. Yeah. Such a good, his art's been really, really high end throughout.
And now we just got this night scene in Colorado, Lakeview, Colorado. I don't know if there's a real place in Lakeview, but I've been to Colorado. It's a beautiful place. The Rocky Mountains are amazing. But so pretty much here, the thing people like you are too smart to believe in, took a terrible vengeance that night. And they do not hold back the gore on this. That is some really awesome stuff right there.
But no, you know, it's a vampire's version of all the stories you hear about people who die on like Mount Everest, and they just
Right. Hmm.
that's where they are, you know. And this is that, like, this could happen, and who would ever know?
Yeah. And I love the fact that instead of like using a different shade of red with the blood spill here, you have the red and then you have the black shading as well. It kind of makes it
Sure.
more it actually makes it look like the blood has been there for a little bit longer. Like this
Yeah.
kill was like probably maybe a couple hours ago. So I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a great
Hmm.
panel.
So
And
here
you
we
got
just got
Mr. Skinner Sweet.
right. And he's just seeking revengeance, nothing too great, but man, sorry for everyone. But when I read this, I'm like, man, is Skinny or Sweet racist? Because he's
Yeah,
like, welcome to
he
Lakeview,
goes.
and he's talking about Hector Camillo. I think that's how it is. I don't know. I mean, my wife's Hispanic. You think I would know it better. But he's like, the mayor's a taco vendor. I'm like, oh my gosh, is he
Yeah,
racist?
yeah, he said a lot of stuff like that. But I mean,
Yeah,
I try to chalk it up to the time, but yeah,
yeah,
it's weird.
but yeah, just he's just roaming through town naked, and he remembers that the deputy was the mayor was actually Book's deputy. So this is literally like 30 years later after he died. So a lot of these
Right.
people that he's looking for are old and pretty much maybe in their 60s at this point.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's been in the ground underwater for at least 24 years. So what you said
Yeah.
last week.
It
So
was close
yeah,
to almost 30 years.
right. And it's like now
Yeah.
he sees an ad
Mhm.
for a telephone, like
Yeah.
talk about
Exactly.
culture shock.
Right? And he's like new one pretty much talking about like I think a book or this maybe been a movie, and
Yep.
he's just, looking at stuff, and then he finds what? A candy store. This man loves his candy.
Which is really odd for a vampire. Like,
Right? But man, he just kicks the door in, and you would think that he would try to put some clothes on.
had to get his candy first.
Right? Exactly. He couldn't understand his new state at first, but I think he was very quick to learner. So yeah, he's just
Yep.
busting in, still hungry, but he's ransacking the whole store for ice cream, candy, and then all of a sudden, boom, the owner of the store
Yeah.
comes in and he's like, you better get out or I'm gonna make you leave and you'll never be hungry again.
Yep.
But nope, Sweet's like, I ain't having that bullshit. Swipes at his gun, and then bam,
Yeah.
Sweets is just tearing him up.
These
But man,
American vampires, like Transform, are very intense.
they
Like
are.
I think that it's a unique look, like even for vampires.
Hmm.
But I dig it. I really do.
Yeah,
I love
because
the fingers.
yeah, exactly. It like I said, it reminds me of 80s 90s Lady Deathstrike because
Yeah.
she had the long fingers in the X-Men TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
He it's just like I wonder if they're ever
Hmm.
going to describe these folks as I wonder if they're gonna say that the American vampires are werewolves.
Yeah, or something. I mean, I definitely want to know what it is.
Yeah,
But I
it's
mean,
a
I
pretty
and with Raphael, I love his poses because he just draws so dynamic stuff. I wonder if he like did a lot of superhero stuff before he did this because it definitely has like that dynamic superhero poses.
yeah, there was a lot of those panels from last
Hmm.
week with Pearl too. Like when
Yeah.
she jumped off the motorcycle onto
Hmm.
the car. Like
Yeah.
you're right. It's these, same stuff from like the early 2000s, Justice League and JSA. Just those
Hmm.
dynamic, like classic timeless superhero poses. But just a solid. This was a solid chapter.
Oh yeah, for sure. And now he's just sleeping with the dead body. I mean, I don't know what that's all about, but he's like just crazy. I think he's smelling something here because his senses are pretty strong.
Yep.
And now everybody's wide awake, and they're like, "Hey, the candy store's broken into." And this kid is like, "Mister, you're covered." I mean, I could only imagine because this guy looks like a teenager, so he's probably
Yep.
like, Mister, you're covered in blood," talking like that. Cut myself
Awesome.
saving. Yeah. And that was another thing. I always wanted to do voice acting. I think I could do it.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah. But yeah, he's like, cut myself shaving. If you don't want to suffer a worse fate, tell me where the mayor's office is.
Yeah,
So
this guy's
he's
tough. He means business.
mm-hmm. But like I said, he didn't care about putting on a shirt. He just wanted some pants and filled his pockets with nothing but candy.
That's probably the
Got,
only reason he put the pants on, because he could hold more candy if he
right?
had pants on.
Got candy canes, bubble gum. Oh, man. Oh, and then he buttons up the pants. But yeah. And now pretty much everyone probably caught on to, hey, this guy probably killed the guy candy store owner. And then he lays out on these cops.
Yeah, a very
Mm-hmm.
a very cool action sequence. This was.
And Sweets, he doesn't hold back. He's like, try putting me there, and your mothers will moan your loss if you ever had any. Damn.
Yeah,
Like
that's
he
gonna
likes
quit,
the
boy.
right. Mm-hmm. And then
Yeah, he's
I'll and it's like, oh, I always like a little morning gonna say exercise. Bam, the hand goes off like no time. And his friends just like
it's
shocked there.
it was like Deadpool. Like this whole thing was, because you felt the quickness that this guy's arm came off. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, there was a lot of motion in it. And even
Mm-hmm.
like, if you look at how blurred out the background is, like he
Oh
avoided
yeah.
detail in the background
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of convey more of that intensity of, nope, you don't need to look at anything else except until you realize that this guy's arm is detached from his body. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's like, that's your
And
focus.
how quick the blood splatter is, you could tell that he cut that arm off really fast just by the motion. So awesome stuff there. And now he's just hissing at the other guy, and the other guy, he's just shocked and awe, or he's just trying to fight him. And then pretty much he's like, payback starts here, and payback's a bitch.
Yep,
And
you are in
man,
for it.
right? And pretty much Sweet just goes on town and literally look at all the people that he screwed up.
He made to waste. It's like he is just like, he is like the devil come to town.
Mm-hmm. Got heads hanging from poles. You got this man like massacred, cut in half. I'm like, you would think that the stabbing him with the flagpole was a quick death, but I'm like, no, you wanted to rip this man in half.
Yeah. No, yeah, he made it disrespectful.
Yeah. And this chapter was written by Stephen King. So Stephen King, he had the introduction of who Sweets was before he was a vampire, showing how he became a vampire. And now Stephen King's like, okay, now you got the introduction out of the way. Now I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to write something gory and exciting. And you could pretty much see it here.
There's nothing redeeming about Skinner Sweet in this story. Like, Skinner Sweet has always kind of been, even at his most chaotic in the other chapters, there's been something lovable about his character almost. But this chapter is almost just your typical horror formula of a monster that shows up in town. Because these people are not the people who did this to him. Like, let's be clear. Like, this guy is just on a reign of terror, and
Yeah.
he's he is doing it, y'all. Like, he really is.
Yeah, pretty much at that point, he's woken up, hungry after not eating for like almost 30 years. So it's probably at one point where his humanity is lost, and all that is the bloodlust until he starts gaining conscious after he's fed, pretty much.
Right. Right. But,
So now it's go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you realize how interesting that is, as far as, I don't want to say misunderstood, but how you can, like, a town could make these horror stories of somebody who may not be what they're, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's a monster today, but this is not who he is. Like you said, he's just hungry. So it's, I don't know, there's a lot of layers to a vampire sometimes that you just don't always through a lot of stories.
Yeah. So pretty much I like too, like how we have now the flash forward scene to where pretty much we saw the the author telling the story. A guy interrupts him here saying, to present, this is as truth is insane. And the writer's like, then you better leave because it's going to get worse. And believe me, it is going to get a lot worse. The gore is like on par here.
Yeah, this was a gory story in general, but it was well done. I enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah, when you have like a story where the gore is needed and not just thrown in there for like scare factor or like
shock
disgust
value
factor, it makes it it makes it so much better.
Yeah.
So pretty much
this story did it right
here. Yeah. So pretty much here we have the European vampires. They're looking out the window. They see Skinner Sweet, and they're just like shocked because he's walking in full sunlight. How's that possible? Because with them, they can't walk in full sunlight, and they're saying here how to follow in daylight. Do you think about using sun creams, and will it keep us from boiling alive? Because like I said, Skinner Sweets is the first American vampire, and he's like the first vampire to walk during daylight. So a lot of these vampires, of course, are scared because they're coming across a new creature that they never experienced in their lifetime. So they're like, is he one of us or is he something worse?
Right. And he's formidable and he's new. Like, they're already uncomfortable with this guy because they see how powerful he is.
Yeah.
But they don't want to accept him. But they also don't want to accept him, but they don't want him around.
Yeah.
And they're not going to leave him alone, but they don't know if they can stop him.
Yeah, and now flash forward, you pretty much come across a lot of Skinner Sweets past, people that were part of his gang, and then you have like some people that were like officers that now have grown up to be like mayors or a chief of the army. So they're pretty much just getting together saying that, hey, we just went into a mining warehouse, Chief Finch, and he looked like Skinner Sweet, and he's like, talking about Sweet's 30 years in the grave. So yeah, it's been 30 years since Sweet's was alive. So yeah, he's hungry at this point. So, and he's like, I gotta know because I put them there. So they're just gathering together to do basically a mob to take on this person that is calling him Skinner Sweets, but they are not believing at this point that that's him, because let's face it, he would be dead at this point. They saw him die.
Right. And this guy looks the same at the same age as he did 30 years ago.
Exactly. So now we just got Sweets gathering a bunch of explosives, and boom, he made his appearance known to the cops. I mean, to the officers. They're like literally lighting holes in him. And
I loved everything about this part through the end to the end of this chapter. It was just so good.
Yeah. Because, like I said, with Stephen King, he wrote the origin. Now he could just focus on is the action and the gore factor. So yeah, he's just lighting up a cigarette, and then the chief, he's like shocked because now he knows that Skinner is alive and he's dangerous, and he doesn't know why he's not dying because him and his people literally put like probably hundreds of bullets in him.
Yeah, they know that they put him down
Mhm.
on purpose. It wasn't like they left him for dead. Like he was dead and to them.
Mhm. Yeah. And I just love here, like he's trying to threaten this chief. And man, you know for a fact that this guy is a vampire and he's not going to let you live, especially when you
Look at this.
killed him.
Look at
And
this.
then, boom, he blew up that fat guy.
Gone. Dusted.
But man,
Literally obliterated.
but he did the Raphael did the explosion so well, you know. It's not too gory, but it's gory enough to
It's gory enough. Yeah.
to set the picture.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Mhm. Yeah. Do. And now we have these citizens that are trying to make an arrest, and you would think that citizens are going to like, okay, we need to just stay out of business because this guy literally took down like probably a small army of
Right. Yeah. This.
yeah. But they're like,
Yeah,
no,
they
we
did
got to do
stuff.
what we got to.
Yeah.
And now he
You
goes
gotta
to the
get what
train
you got
station.
coming.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, Pard, I got a telegraph for you. And it is the head of that man that was trying to make a citizen's arrest.
Well, it wasn't worth it.
Man, right? But
Mind your own business.
But I love how they decide to go with here, not with like a traditional like head cut off. Like you actually see some of the spine, the neck bone that was connected to the spine there. I love that.
It's like Mortal
that take.
Kombat.
Exactly.
You know, it's like when Sub-Zero used to rip off the heads, like that was the way it looked.
Yeah. And how we talked about the last chapter where, you know, we wish we would have saw like the beginning to the end of Skinner Sweets killing people.
Exactly.
But with this one, I like that they didn't show it because you had the guy that had the guy's head here, like he was trying to make a citizen's arrest with a bunch of other citizens. You didn't see what happened to him until this point. So that I can understand not showing the whole process. You wanted to have like a scare factor or a jump scare.
Right, but you know the difference was just like you've seen how gruesome he is at so many other places.
Yeah.
Like you've seen it through and through. So now you can only imagine how you get here.
Yeah.
This was a good chapter.
Yeah. And I love how like the guy at the train station, you didn't have to show his face. Just look at his hands on like how he's writing something, and as soon as you see the head, his hand is like bunching up and like spazzing out, like he's terrified. And it's great that you have like the action of the hand showing like the emotion that he has.
Yeah, it was honestly what caught my eye about this page before I even saw the spine on the head was you realize that this guy was working and he dropped this pen and he's like recoiling at what he sees.
Yeah, because the thing is, as an artist, you have to try to find ways to show emotion, just not like in the face. Show it through like different parts of the body. How like would someone get scared? Like, do their hands go like this? Do their hands go like that? So yeah, really nice technique there.
Yeah, no, it was the art in this book has been really good, but this chapter in particular was not like, I'm not talking about like precision or anything, but just as far as storytelling goes, I really enjoyed the artwork in this one.
Yeah. And now we just see the destruction that Skinner Sweet is doing throughout the whole, like pretty much everywhere he's going. He's like, ride for the old Bakersfield mine, stop. Bring books, stop. Your pappy says hello, stop. Your old amigo skinny or sweet. This is the telegraph sweet scent. I happen to be with him, with Jim booked on the day it arrived. And yeah, just now we have another flash forward to where the old man who's like the author, he's right here. Remember, in the beginning, he was on the train with like Skinner Sweet's skein. So who's to say that he didn't have something involved with Skinner Sweet's death, or he's just stuck in the middle?
Yeah,
and you could tell time has gone by, because remember, Skinner Sweet's friend here, this man right here, he had a daughter, and his daughter's all grown up, and it's this girl right here, and he's pretty much telling his daughter to go home because this is business, and if they think who it is that they're going to be taking on, he doesn't want his daughter involved at all.
right.
And remember,
he knows
too,
what it is.
Yeah, exactly. But they're just going to go riding out and take on him, and they're just going to regret it.
Pretty much, that's it. Yep.
Yeah. But pretty much here, they're just looking for the Blackmouth twins, which I believe that was part of his gain as well. And now we have this fat penguin vampire just with his umbrella walking around trying to look for people.
Just unlikable, like on sight.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about him. He's just no good.
Yeah. I love the design, but definitely this is one of those characters you love to hate.
100%. Yeah, he's got a very unmistakable look. But
yeah. And the other European vampires have great looks too, but you definitely could tell that this bald one is probably in charge, because he has such more personality that you could see, and dialogue throughout the chapters.
He's always in the middle, and the fur on his wrist and on his neck almost make it look like the fire that these guys talk around.
Yeah, and he's pretty.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, exactly. And they're trying to make a deal here, and hopefully they can make a deal with Sweets. And they're saying, "This is America, Vaughn. In America, everybody deals, even with vampires." So, I don't know. You better hope that Sweets doesn't decide to kill you, and whatever deal you make, better make sure it's a good one.
Right. Yeah. I don't know that Skinner Sweets makes deals the way they want him to. Yeah. This guy is something else.
So pretty much we got Ronnie Jenkins, like a lot of people that you saw during the train heist that was like part of his game that turned on him. And they're just having dialogue amongst each other. What if Skinner finds out that all them chests and bags of money we stole in there is empty? What could he expect? We thought he was dead. Besides, Book and Camiato will take care of him. And yeah, I think not. He set an image there for you guys to realize that it's not going to be as easy as you thought.
Yeah. Look at that. That's such a great panel.
This right here, the vampire panel, yeah.
Well, that one too, but the tree. Oh yeah, the tree with the gold color. Oh my gosh, I love that panel.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
And that vulture is pretty menacing. I mean, I live here in Florida, and I could tell you that the vultures are huge down here. The turkey vultures.
Are they?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't want to mess with those.
We got some pretty big ones here. Yeah. No, they're gross.
And pretty much that's it. That was the chapter. I think it would be the 6th story in the volume novel 1, and it wasn't like too long of a story like the other ones were, but man, it had so much more action and gore, kind of like how the last book was at the end. And that's what I'm really liking, is that now you got the character origins out of the way. Now we could just focus on setting the action and getting you excited to wanting to come back and read more.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. This was not a very long read at all, this chapter, but it got me excited about, again, just like the last ones have, got me excited about what we had read, and it definitely gets me. It kept my interest to the next chapter. I remember when we did the video with Gary. Gary was talking about how important the page turn was, and this book so far has established. Hey, what's up, Gary? I was just talking about you.
What's up, Gary?
This book established that page turn, but with each chapter has been like, I got to read the next chapter, and that's really all you can ask for going into. Because to be honest, we exactly.
Yeah.
To be honest, we were. I was nervous about getting into another long book after Hellraiser. Like I didn't want to feel tied down to another like multi-chapter book that we knew going into it was really long. But so far,
because
this has been the exact
story
of that.
Yeah, because this story has about like six volumes to it. So you know, if we need to do like a couple volumes, then take a break to do like one-off stories and come back to this one, we'll do it. But so far, if all the stories are like this, I definitely do not have a mind doing like 20 issues.
No, because at the very least, because we're both busy, with work, comics, family life, but this channel always gives me an opportunity to sit down once a week and like know that I know something that I have to read instead of having to go through the process of picking something to read. Because sometimes when you don't have time, you just as soon not do it at all. So this has been fun to read. So I don't mind picking up this comic and saying, okay, this is what I have to do as part of my stuff. It's nice to have something that I know I'm going to be entertained by reading, and it's written by one of our current pillars with Stephen King. And as far as comics go, Scott Snyder is he's a current it guy for comic writing. So this you can't really ask for much more on the writing side. And Raphael Albuquerque's art is so good. This is just it's a can't miss book, or it has been to this point. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure.
Definite 8 out of 10 chapter.
Yeah, I would definitely give it an 8 as well.
Yeah, and it's only an 8 just because everything is not a 10 out of 10, and it's really good. Like this is a really entertaining read. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And I think we got maybe about 4 more stories, if I'm not mistaken, with this volume. I would have to double check, but each story definitely is one of those stories I'm like, okay, that story was not necessary. We could have done without that. No, I actually enjoy each story, and I like the way it's going.
Yep. No, this has been A++. I'm having a blast. And no, like I want to know what happens next every week.
Yeah, for sure. So pretty much we're gonna stop it here because, like we said, this was a short chapter, but it was definitely one of my favorites because it had that action to it.
100%. Great action, great gore.
Yeah.
A nice reminder that there is a right way to go all the way all out with the gore. Again, because that last book just kind of threw me off, and it makes you, kind of makes you pull on the brakes a little bit because you don't want to overdo it, but overdo it. If you believe in what you're doing, do it. Even the people that wrote that Hellraiser book, if they believed in what they were doing, they shouldn't have any regrets about doing it just because I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
For sure. All right. Well, as always, head to my friend's website where him and Aaron Guzman is doing the mini comics like we did in the beginning. Hurry up because it's going to be one of those things that
this volume is nuts. and I'm not saying it because I'm on the creative team.
Mm-hmm.
These are the ones that you want to get, and damn it, this is it. Buy these books, and I got a lot more to say about it, but I'm not gonna say it yet.
So when's the last, pretty much at the end of this year, or when is it like the run of the mini comics going to come to end?
The last minis, I believe, are slated to go out in November.
See, guys, I mean, this is why you got to get the mini comics. It's a short run, but I mean, it's definitely a beautiful run.
Is so okay. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. Gary, check out this. Aaron is a nut for his artwork, y'all. Like, this is the cover to the last issue of Hourglass. This is a Comics de la Muerte / mini comic bundles exclusive. I'll have more to say about this in a little bit, but like, this is a mini comic, guys. Like, this is the cover of a mini comic book, a 1/8 size comic. Look at that. And the story is just as good. The interior artwork is as good as the covers. Aaron goes all out with the artwork. I really, really believe in these stories, guys. This is the conclusion of Hourglass. It's a 6-part story. It's a very personal story because this was the one that I kind of took my audition with, so to speak, with the minis. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed the final product of it. It was
worth it.
So good. Thank you. Yeah, I believe that they're worth it as well. This bundle was fun for me because this bundle has a lot of horror in it. You know, mm-hmm. Home Run is not like a typical phantom-y horror story, but as you get to know this world, it's got all of it.
Yeah.
Hourglass is sci-fi, but Hourglass is intense. And the message is horror. And that's the one that I'm excited to see what folks think about it, because I really enjoyed writing that one. And I enjoyed seeing what Aaron did with it. So yeah, minicomicbundles.com. It's been a fun ride. Commenting to add a comment. That's a pretty legit reason for some person to add a comment. I love it.
Right? Exactly. So,
but yeah, that's what I got.
So, like, and with me, you could go to my Ko-fi account. You know, even if you don't want no horror art, you could always support the channel. We appreciate it, because whatever money that you do, I could just, use it to make this channel better. And like, Gary wasn't here, but in the beginning, I talked about that besides YouTube, I'm bringing Comics de la Muerte to Twitch, bringing it to like more fans, more followers that are out there that could spread the word and just help make this channel grow and make this show so much better. I mean, it's great now, but man, we could do so much ahead of it. So appreciate everyone for the support, and everyone new coming by. We appreciate that as well.
Yeah. Hey, some person, thanks for coming by and commenting to comment. That means a lot.
But you all have a good night, and we'll see you
y'all
next
be
week.
Good. Take care.
Peace.
Good night.